and welcome to the Raw Review. We are the Dudley Boys of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review Raw, but SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete. A little bit of quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett Sidgwick to review last night's Raw and the continued road to WrestleMania.
Yes, we've spent years, I think, at this point, debunking various myths or things that the engagement accounts and all that sort of stuff might feed you on your terrible timelines, increasingly terrible timelines. And around WrestleMania season, one of the ones we like to hit upon is Deborah was The Rock's manager. Like, a My Way video package did the legwork that weeks and weeks of television didn't. WrestleMania 17 obscured the fact that, like, the business was already starting to die before Austin and Vince joining forces killed it outright. And it's weird because this isn't that. Temperature check, boiling hot, creatively feels a little bit Deborah is The Rock's manager, up and down the show. But that is in contrast to how hot all of this still feels. I'm not watching a Madison, like a packed Madison Square Garden. I know Cody said that talking stats is tacky, which is interesting.
It was 20,000.
But like there he was underselling it or whatever it was. It looked amazing. It looked incredible. The garden will always be the garden. The Mecca, holy ground, all of that sort of stuff. It feels great. Like, I continue to love being in the world, but for no individual reason. I'm just not, like, finding much of this compelling, truthfully. And yes, the graphic comes up of, like, Brussels. Well, full stop. Raw in Brussels. That's pretty cool. SmackDown's going to be in Barcelona. Cody Rhodes and John Cena are going to be in the same building for the first time. Roman Reigns might yet lock in. Still not convinced. Might yet lock in. There are loads of things that... if you're a Fed head and wowed by the brainlessness of it all, to be excited about. But if you break it down, as we do every week, I'm just not feeling it, truthfully.
Look, I thought this was a pretty bad show. A pretty bad show that basically it was a one development show. A lot of filler, quite literally in the case of certain segments throughout. There was one thing around which it was built, one thing around which you were meant to watch it, and I thought it was real bad. Like, in terms of match, post-match, like a whole host of reasons where I'm thinking, I just don't like anything about this.
That gets us back on side, because I thought the match was terrific. Like, the main event, I thought it was absolutely terrific. So we feel a bit more where we should be.
Okay.
I love this show. It's one of my favourite Raws of the year, this.
Here he is.
And I love how, like, I disagree with you. I think all the WrestleMania stuff's now finally coming together. Like,
Oh, yeah, they're making the card. It's just the card's pretty big.
no, I really like the card. Like, the developments, like, across the board here got me very excited for WrestleMania. I really enjoyed large parts of this show. Loads of different things going on. And obviously, I was a big fan of the main event. So
The tour element of this, they're going to be doing all of these. It's not just doing a tour for the sake of it or doing house shows and then getting back to America. Like, they're going to have the start times that are going to suit the towns they're in. It's going to stay alive.
by the way, start times.
Oh my god.
Oh my God. Yeah. Love that. Like,
One day tea.
Oh, yeah.
maybe like American fans on Fridays and Mondays where they're up and down at 8 p.m. at night watching Raw and SmackDown. It's going to be class. Like,
What are the start times?
like
Generally, like 8.
Tea
seven,
time for
between
us, yeah.
7, 8 and 9 o'clock, basically, because they're just going live in the countries they're in.
aye.
Class, man. Like, it's totally different, and it's unique to this WrestleMania build. And maybe, I guess, in their minds are thinking, right, what are we going to do that are going to make it, that are going to make those nights memorable? We're going to hit these towns, and we want to make sure that we're going to hit them again for the B-show pay-per-views or whatever. It's yet another different way they're using these cool venues and cool atmospheres and stuff. But then, does that mean that by accident you end up making probably a highest draw in Madison Square Garden Raw ever a bit of a skippable filler week? Because that's weird too. Like, fair enough, prioritize different markets for different needs, but I wouldn't have taken your foot off the gas for this specific
I don't think
episode.
they did take their foot off the gas. I think big developments for numerous different things as we head towards WrestleMania. What was that? Go on.
Just nothing.
Dickhead. Jey Uso entered to kick off Monday Night Raw. As Cole mentions, many celebrities are in attendance. We'll get into more of them in a bit. And Grayson Waller, as he's supposed to be straight into the match, Grayson Waller rips up
Goddamn moron.
the kid's yeet sign as he makes his way down to the ring. So yeah, Jey Uso versus Grayson Waller starts off the show. There's a yeeting, obviously. Waller used a distraction from Austin Theory to take advantage as we go to a break. But Jey fights back when we come back with strikes and a Samoan drop. They try for another distraction this time. Jey fights all that off. Hits a super kick, but as he goes for a dive, Waller blocks that and sends him back in. Hits a rolling flatliner for 2. Jey fights back with another super kick. Super kicks Theory off the apron and spears Grayson Waller for the 1, 2, 3. But history repeated itself here. We had Theory and Waller attacking Jey after the match, but he fights them off. He dumps Waller out there, spears Theory, splashed him as well, but then in slides Gunther to grab Jey into a sleeper who goes limp. It takes 3 referees to pull Gunther off, and he poses with a foot on Jey's chest to stand tall before leaving.
I don't know this to be the case because I've not seen really any conversation about this Raw on socials today, but I think a lot of people will have the
Turk
wrong...
Arena, universally.
What, the Raw?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will have the wrong take on this match, and I want to try and have the right one. It is one thing, like Jey Uso doesn't have that many great matches. And that's not particularly a problem, but he's not got that many great matches in his CV. It is a way bigger test to pass to have as entertaining a match as Jey Uso had here than it is to have like a good one with Gunther on Saturday Night's Main Event, or the good one we imagine he'll have at WrestleMania. And the other select few, the Braun Breaker one was borderline epic, probably his best. But Jey Uso's had some good matches, some fine matches, and it's increasingly even less the point than ever. This made me feel something. Because Jey Uso is now such a star and such a profiled star that he's going in there with the obvious outcome, basically taking on bottom of the totem pole, nowhere in the pecking order heels in Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, and just lighting up Madison Square Garden, doing his babyface bits, and getting an awesome response from it and getting this standard win. Way more impressive to me than what he can do against the wrestlers that should theoretically be there to carry him, because he's showing what kind of spot he can carry, which is to be massively over in, the world's most famous arena, getting this incredible response, just continuing to justify winning the Rumble and getting the spot against Gunther. And before we get to the conversation around the main event, the match that I still want a main event night 1, and I still think warrants it and deserves it way more than what we saw in the closing moments of this episode of Raw. I sort of loved this. I think these moments for Jey Uso prove a lot of his doubt was wrong, more so than the stuff he does with the wrestlers that you expect him to do well against.
This is weird, right? I didn't like it, but I was almost impressed by it. And before the show started to really not be very good at all, I was kind of swept up in the atmosphere of MSG and the romance of it all. This was 2 things at the same time. It was a SmackDown ass match in terms of the actual action, which, I still like because it's called wrestling. It's the thing. SmackDown ass match where from plot point to plot point to plot point, no consideration, no real deep thought, no work and effort, no craft, no struggle, just move, just from beat to beat to beat to beat to finish, just completely phoned in, agented in terms of the match. Nothing creative or credible or emotional or anything about it, right? House show, fair. TV match, agented, fair. And yet, there's a wonderful sound, right? If you go back and watch even wrestling shows from a certain time, 80s and 90s, that are considered bad, there's still a noise that happens where you're like, bloody hell, I missed that noise. You know what I watched the other night?
What's that?
Recreation, just for the crack, at King of the Ring 1994.
Yep.
I just decided to put it on, a bit of composite nostalgia of, the stupid commentator, some colourful childhood favourites, and just the ambience. And I go over the noise is every punch, but in a crap match, it's yay! I like that yay noise, and you got a bit of that in this,
IRS and Razor's one of them crap matches with noises. Razor's you just really want the babyface to win the kingdom. It's no more than that. Razor's cool as out. IRS is one of the worst.
One of the worst of all time.
Noise out the ace.
It's just yay! It's a punch. It's the babyface is outwitted. They got the comeback. Yay! I miss the yay noises,
Jey's just got...
Yeah, he's got him.
Yeah.
Like, you thought, oh, okay, that was a nice moment at WrestleMania 40. We'll all remember that. And then it's going to kind of peter out. It's just everywhere. And now it's like, oh, great. And now he's coming to our town to do it or whatever.
This was like, not to be too, flippant or insulting, but this is the sort of match that makes you realize, this whole time it's been for 8 and 9-year-olds. Why am I still watching this? Oh, it's my job, If you're a 9-year-old kid, it's going to be the coolest thing ever. No, you don't have to think about it. It's not too long. It doesn't demand too much of your attention. It's really, really noisy. There's a clearly positioned cool guy who you're meant to like, who you probably do like earnestly. Yeeting with that young child as well. It's the best. I love that in the entrance. This would go so hard if you were 8 years old. It would, though. It would go so hard if you were 8.
We learnt this, like, with John Cena, and there was always that default line. It's for the women and the kids. Oh, the dudes. And it was like, well, so 1/3 of the 2/3 you've just described.
Like the dudes who grew up with it,
Yeah.
The guys being dudes,
There's historic evidence, especially within WWE, that if you've got a character that is over with kids, you're onto a winner because you're hooking them for one thing. They'll have Jey Uso as their guy forever, and then they'll just keep watching, like we all still are, even though we're all in our 30s at this point.
All in our 30s.
Right. Obviously, this is programmed for 9-year-olds.
But how that reflects on television and how infectious that can be in buildings is what creates like the memory of like Jey Uso last year. I'll be at WrestleMania, desperate for him to win, even though I don't think he can. Especially if it doesn't go on last, I just don't think he can. I will be desperate for him to win. I want to live in the world where Jey Uso is the world heavyweight champion.
I don't think he will. That could be the next bet.
We were talking, we need a new bet, don't we? Yeah,
we need a new bet.
I just keep losing. You need to keep getting past this.
We'll give a formal update to the listeners on the Dynamite preview. That seems more appropriate. I'll tell you indeed which offering I went for.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking about like Jey Uso and Grayson Waller, pretty basic stuff, loud basic there. There's a promotion for adults. It's called AEW. I want to check that out one day.
Yeah, adults do like some boring stuff. That's the difference.
we get a video package for Punk Rollins in the main event. Who's the best in the freaking world? Also during the break, there was a video package for Penta and Ludwig. Guys,
every week I forget that. Every week you lost me again.
They're having a no holds barred match next week in Brussels.
Jumping around like Loaf Sun.
I don't know.
I'll show you it later.
Okay.
Or is it Sun Loaf? I think it's Sun Loaf. I'll show you later.
All right.
It's good stuff.
We also see Alpha Academy checking on Jey in the trainer's room. Otis says, we'll have you back. So he's going to die again, presumably. Yeah. Then out comes Logan Paul. He also rips the shirt off some fan that read, I hate Logan Paul. Gets a load of heat in MSG, of course.
Fan.
You can barely...
It's a plant.
Fan who's in the crowd, mate. It's a stunt, Grandma.
Wait a minute,
It's a stunt, Chad.
Logan Paul working with plants. He really does steal everything from Hangman Page.
Does?
You having that?
Yeah.
It was plants or something. I don't know. That's what I read now from like the sort of the blue sky stuff that also over to X is like Hangman's more in a garden actually.
I love Hangman. I would probably
that reference could be wrong. I don't know.
That fabled Elusive Genius podcasts. He's an honourable mention, certainly, because it's the most select group we're ever going to compile.
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game! Ha 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 ha!
How old is Hangman Page? You check it. And me and Hamflett will play it.
We're all in our 30s. We're all in our 30s. I'll go with 32.
I'm going to go with 34.
Ooh. Do you know this, Nicholas?
I do not.
Do you want to take a punt?
No.
Okay.
It's Christian, give me a beat.
Also, sorry, just look at Google Hangman Page's name. There's like pictures of him, height, age, all that. And then there's the Reddit thread of like the post-match post-match thread of MJF Hangman Page, but the image is MJF with his face in the mat. It's the only part of his body that's touching it, eating the angel wings. That
Angel's wings.
It's still, what a bump that was. You split the difference. He's 33.
So basically, he's too old to be typing exclusively in lowercase.
Yes.
In that sort of affected, in that sort of affected way, lowercase, no punctuation. Come on. We are approaching middle age now. We can drop that one.
Yeah. He's closer to 34.
I love him. I love him so much, but that's an ick of mine, that lowercase, because here's the thing. Are you typing in a desktop exclusively? Because my phone will default to, the uppercase. I know other people have done this bit. It's not a bit, it's a genuine thing of mine. Like, I think Limmy has raged about this before, and I'm in full agreement. Thought about it independently. At the very least, on a mobile, you have to change. If you're going to do that, I'm too cool for punctuation, actually. Well, why you're a school teacher then? You at the... I love them, but come on. At the very least, you have to change the first thing into a thing. And maybe you have to do it at the very end in case it keeps correcting, So basically, your facade of not caring and being casual, I don't really care about formal, it's just internet, innit? So you actually do care about this facade because you're going back and changing it.
100%. The more. It lives in the exact same space as the arbiters, the people that want to tell you how to tweet, how to think on Twitter, pretending that they're not in the sludge. You guys, you crazy guys in the sludge. Let me just get in the sludge to tell you how much. That's another version of that because it's performing for the sludge.
Yeah,
trying to be like, I kind of don't perform for the sludge. That's the difference between me and the rest of these guys. It's kind of Hangman Trent and everybody else. Am I right?
Yep.
Like, because he's the
lowercase guy as well.
But yeah, that's all I see now is that like this wrestler used to be a school teacher. When he's into gardening, that's how you can be into gardening if you want. Just likes plants.
I like plants. I'm just rubbish at not killing them.
Yeah, I when we had first got our...
I've got a cat now, so you have to be really careful about what plants you have for cats. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was the exact same thing. I was like, I've got to make sure they take care of the plants. I just overwatered them to death and they all died.
Drowned living creature.
Back to Raw. Logan Paul's out there getting loads of boos, obviously, and he says AJ Styles is supposed to call him out, but he beat him to the punch. When you hear the name of Logan Paul, you think about names like The Rock and John Cena that have transcended wrestling and entertainment and do anything to reach the top. And that's why he's shocked that Cody Rhodes was dumb enough to reject the Rock's offer. It took Cena 20 years to realize that nice guys finish last. Logan's known that since day one. He's happy to sell his soul to The Rock, not the only one. He talks about being, I'm the celebrity, I'm the talent in here, not you bloody plebs. That's why all the celebrities have come out to see my show, like Andrew Schultz here. And he goes out to chat to Schultz, who presumably has got some sort of Netflix special to plug. But Schultz reveals he's not there to see Logan Paul. He's there to see the cage match between Punk and Rollins. No one in New York was there to see Logan Paul. This is a real city, unlike Cleveland. They want to see real wrestlers like AJ Styles. Logan Paul's not happy about this, so he yanks Andrew Schultz over the barricade, drags him into the ring. He sets up to suplex him. But AJ Styles runs out, nails Paul with a clothesline, hits a phenomenal forearm, grabs the microphone, tells Logan to get his ass back in the ring. But Logan slinks off to the back as Styles and Schultz celebrate.
I just didn't like a single thing about this. Not a single thing about it. I've seen AJ Styles fight Shane McMahon, so I don't even see him fight the work rate one. Like, genuinely, that's not an interesting WrestleMania match at all. I don't think AJ Styles is capable of an interesting WrestleMania match.
No, look at his record. Yeah, it's awful.
Oh, yeah, we ran through that a while back, didn't we?
Terrible.
If it was good on the night, it'd still be a surprise. But
he's the new generation. He's the Triple H of
work rate hunter.
Yeah.
Like, it's
had one great year, and then he sucked at WrestleMania and did very little else after 2016.
I think if there was a build, let's say AJ Styles versus Bron Breakker, the interest in that would be, well, they've never wrestled, and the few moments they've had together have been kind of amazing. So it looks like they're going to have great physical chemistry, and AJ Styles on his day can still remind you of why once upon a time you were just completely mystified by how amazing he was. And Bron Breakker's this new guy that mystifies you and just, oh my God, I love this guy. This is not that match. This is not that match at all. So I'm not interested yet. I might be. They might find something, but I'm not seeing it yet. And then
Do you not think they're all going to be put into the US title match? The IC title
which
match.
again gives you very little to be excited about. On the night, if you're, privileged enough to be in the building, there might be some cool spots and some cool moments, but if you were watching it on the screen, you'd be like, yeah, I've seen this a million times. It's multi-man stuff, compromise stuff. This comedian, I only know him to be a bad egg, having never heard any of his jokes or watched a Netflix special. So I'm just seeing three guys I don't like all at the same time, like either working against each other or buddying up. It doesn't make a difference. I hate them all. Like, I'm not pretending that I'm watching Raw and like sort of in league with the good guys. I'm very aware of the sort of the content I consume, unfortunately.
Chud City.
As most of us
You live
are.
in Chud City.
100%, yeah. But like just three of them on screen at the same time, like compete and see can be the biggest chud.
Should have grabbed Macaulay Culkin. He was hugely over.
There was somebody that made me feel something on this Raw, was Macaulay Culkin. Yet again, man knows how to work his spot.
Oh,
It's
every
nice to-
time.
it's
The
nice to
hat
see.
last time, now that whip the belt this time.
Looks like he's in it, not just to be there as well, which is, we know that he's like a wrestling fan, like a bit of a lifer like the rest of us. Yeah, I just thought this is like, I just passionless trash, like large portions of the match are going to be, unless they genuinely surprise us.
I like Home Alone the match now. I'm thinking about if you have Macaulay Culkin involved.
Way more interesting. Yeah.
Marbles in there. Whoa, I'm falling over. Stuff like that. Thoughts?
No.
Use the temperature of the Fed to heat up the doorknob, so that when Logan Paul grabs it, Fed say what?
With the people involved,
Brands it on his hand.
Yeah.
with Hamflett, with the people involved, like just this thick fog of like just detestable things, just cloaked MSG, and I'm like, oh God, I hate everyone here. I really don't like them at all. This is just awful. And if you can pass the fog to actually think about and analyze the content that emanated from the fog, pure in that it was such like, it's a celebrity front row. These things, there's an artifice to the interactions. But come on, you're meant to be a performer, or you're not. And like, it was so stiff and wooden. Like, it just didn't resemble a real conversation. Like, it was just so like such a WWE celebrity interaction, like a Wayne Rooney, or like a guest host ass crap. Like the actual execution of their chat, it was diabolical. Absolutely, I hated this.
There's a standard or a bar or whatever it is, a bit like how Bad Bunny, miss Bad Bunny. Oh. And the more I see Logan Paul, the more I miss a Bad Bunny. But like Logan Paul is another example. The people that come in and get it or get enough of it that there is like a new standard set for special guest wrestlers now, celebrity wrestlers. We're way past, like, for years and decades even, Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow being the sort of the standard for what makes a good celebrity match. Now that's gone through the roof. I'm prepared to admit that about, say, Logan Paul's debut or whatever. His debut especially, in fact, because he did show amazing instincts against the Mysterios that night. And
that
you're like, wow.
pause before it was like,
Down the hard camera.
that pause before he can't be thinking he could do an Eddie Guerrero tribute spot.
Yeah.
The pause between the first and second Three Amigos suplexes was just like, when you're a performer, you're a celeb, you've got charisma, you are great at this. But I'm done now. I am done.
It's the bar's quite high, weirdly high for celebrity investment and involvement because, he's bust Cody's eardrum and like give him a black eye or whatever it is. But in a weird sort of way, Travis Scott added a lot of value, a lot of different ways, and feels like he sort of belongs in this world. And this Andrew Schultz guy was just, I just pictured all three of them going backstage and doing the big AJ Styles head snap back, body slam a Democrat. Got him again. Off. Like, and there's going to be like loads of it as well. Like, this is obviously at a bare minimum Netflix policy, if not WWE TKO thing. You see this.
There was loads of different people who I had no idea who they were, and they were like, but they're on the new Netflix show of this.
It's all the time every week. It's the, like, you normalize this. But as a result, what that creates is like a mental league table stitches, right? Like what are you seeing behind the fog? I can tolerate the fog. Is there anything behind the fog that I actually like? And in this case, there wasn't. The fog is ever-present. It's always there now.
Yeah. The chud fog.
Yeah.
It should.
Just before you move on, did anybody else think that Andrew Schultz looked like Simon Gotch? It really, really, like
You had a
Andrew
t-shirt
Schultz.
on, you couldn't.
Andrew Schultz, he's got a pair of titties like a 65-year-old woman. How you doing?
my work here is done.
got pro-Republican jokes like she's a 6-year-old woman.
He'd be in this, wouldn't he? Mally?
He will.
Big Alistair. When's he going to debut? What's he going to do?
Lights out, lights on stuff with Karrion Kross probably, innit?
Yeah.
You can't poison his minds better than I can.
Yeah.
I'm the best mind poisoner.
We get a video recap of Io Sky beating Rhea for the world title last week, of course. And then we're going to get the Tornado tag match during the break. The New Day come out, bury the local sports teams and say to everyone, this is their new thing. Thank God for the New Day. There's also some sort of TKO boxing announcement, and there's a boxer and Freddie Roach in the crowd as well as Obafemi. Roadblock tonight, isn't it?
I'd forgotten it was Roadblock tonight. I'm excited. Excited for Roadblock.
More on that later. We also, throughout this show, I'll probably mention.
Is it in a different place?
Theatre. Where the Lions Den match with...
Of course.
We saw clips throughout this show of steel cage matches. I think this was Bruno versus Koloff in 1975. And then we got the Tornado tag match. Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee. Mysterio and Lee dominate early on. They hit a double bulldog and New Day roll to the outside. Ray sends Xavier into the announce table, into the ring post. And Dragon and Ray, as the crowd wants, go under the ring for a table. But Xavier and Kofi attack and slide it back under there. Ray got sent into the steps. Lee got caught in a dive and powerbombed on the floor to take us to a break. When we come back, New Day are in control. But then they're all sort of fighting on the turnbuckle. And Ray, it's still ridiculous that he can do this after all these years. Takes Woods off the, you've got Lee and Kofi fighting on the turnbuckle, and Ray's one side of it, and Xavier's the other side. And he jumps off the ropes and springboard Hurricane Rana's Xavier Woods. Dragon Lee hits a double foot stomp off the top. He also hit a running Hurricane Rana off the apron, and Woods sort of half broke the table, collided with the barricade, and his arm sort of fell back onto the table, and it broke, and the fans were like, yeah, bollocks, that counts. Ray runs wild on Kofi, hits a 619, but Kingston gets his knees up on a frog splash, puts him in a cradle. Dragon Lee breaks that up and then takes out Kingston with a dive. And then, I need your help with this one, there's like an unidentified masked man. There's like an American lucha mask that he's wearing. He's got a black hoodie on. He takes out Dragon Lee with a Hurricane Rana, grabs Ray, hits him with a delayed German suplex, and then yells, Gracias!
Oh my God.
Before being grabbed by security and then running through the
good
crowd.
stuff.
It's good
New
stuff.
Day finish off Ray with the up, down for the 1, 2, 3.
So should we tell Wilbourn who it is?
It's Chad Gable.
Well, you think that, but later on, there he is, and there's the masked man from earlier being removed, so he can't be in two places at once, guys.
That's it. By the way, I think they should do, like a rule of 3 sort of thing. So this week, the person getting dragged away was, say, Julius Creed, for example. So now he's only got Brutus Creed and Ivy Nile. And then next week, Brutus Creed gets arrested. So then it's very clearly Ivy Nile the third week. Oh, we're not American-made people. There was a bit too much wrestling on this Raw. And
There was hardly any.
still too much. And the
4 matches, wasn't there?
they all went too long. Except the opener. I didn't mind the opener. The rest, all matches went too long otherwise.
Your
Drag-
brain has
this-
been
this-
sludged.
this
It
dragged.
didn't go that long.
I thought this dragged. I thought this didn't fill me with loads of hope, truthfully. Again, this is like WrestleMania stuff. It didn't fill me with loads of excitement for what I feel like I'm being sold, which is the New Day versus the Lucha Brothers. Like they're working, the New Day are working through baby faces, proving their worth, and then there's this big match at WrestleMania, presumably now with Rey Fenix and Penta.
You'll
rather
see their
than Rey Mysterio.
entrance and you'll
Yeah.
clap like a seal.
That's true. Catherine Wheeler, that'd be pretty good. Yeah, all right, I'm back on side. Thank you, Sidge.
What about 41 Catherine Wheels?
41 Catherine Wheels.
It was WrestleMania 41.
And you know what? Why not? Once they had Pyro coming out of cannons on a pirate ship, you are allowed to think of a million different things when it comes to these WrestleMania sets. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be fun. Whew.
Roulette Catherine Wheels.
Roulette, 41 roulette.
He's not going to enjoy the journey, that's all.
Yeah, that's why I'm not enjoying the journey that much. The finish here, Chad Gable was sensational. Did he, on purpose, because he's an amazing professional wrestler, right? Did he, on purpose, not do the best Hurricane Rana?
Yeah.
Because his one lucha thing was a bit crap, and then he does a gorgeous delayed German. He's like, I can do this. Like, I've learned nothing. Because surely the man can peel off a pretty class Hurricane Rana like that if he wants to.
Yeah, I'd
And yet
imagine
he
so.
Just, here I go. And like, tight waist lock, like, swings him around, drags him. He's so great, Chad Gable.
I
so
thought
great.
I don't know if it was just happenstance or what, but the camera angle was so good because it made it look like he was about to suplex the back of his head into the edge of the steel steps. He was so close to it. Yeah. That was really good. This match was really good. ... for Raw. Like, it was a bit of like not much in the way of downtime. Like, get on with it. Get on with it. How are you getting on with it here? I was like, I just watched it. I just watched it and engaged with it.
I watched it.
But I'm not being funny. You put this move for move in AEW and you think, boring. There's attacks in it.
Yeah, I really liked the
Grazia! I loved it.
That was...
You don't get that in AEW. Not anymore.
Nah, that was sensational.
That's the stuff.
Then we go to the
Lots of funny guys. Chris Jericho.
We go to the clubhouse. What's going on here? Finn Balor's talking. We see what happened with Finn and Braun and etc. from the previous week, and he says he's sick of Braun Breaker to Carlito, but Carlito's not listening. And Carlito, I rewound this, says, "Raquel ever ask about me? I'm handsome. What's going on here? These crazy kids going to get it together."
Now, this I liked. Judgment Day stuff across the night. This I liked.
He's also, Finn was like, I'm talking about taking out Braun Breaker. He's like, what about John Cena being a bad guy, huh? I thought he'd be a good guy forever like me. Funny. Liv, Raquel, and Dom show up, and Morgan announces that Raquel's got a match tonight against Bayley. The winner of that gets a shot at the IC title. And Dom's also got a match for the IC title, and Finn's like, typical. You got yourself a match. He's like, no, I got it for you against Braun Breaker next week for the IC title. And Balor just like embraces Dom. Little look from Dom during the hug. But Balor leaves to make it official with Adam Pearce, and Liv asks why he didn't get himself a title match. And Dom believes in Finn Balor. He's got this, he says.
It's good.
Are the baby facing Dom?
No, I think they're... All of this leads to a multi-man, so don't get too excited. But...
I won't.
Yeah, settle yourself.
I won't.
But, so they've got Dom seemingly colluding with Ludwig Kaiser. They showed him one of the trademark Triple H backstage bits later on. He's in the mix with Braun, isn't he, as well? Finn Balor's going to get his ass kicked and going to get those beautiful abs speared through by Braun Breaker, and then it's kind of like sort of going to be Dom's fault, isn't it? That he's taking such a beating, and Dom, no,
we can't medically leave for WrestleMania. What?
I promise, boss, I was trying. Or he loses, Finn Balor will lose to Braun, or there'll be a DQ or something like that, and then Ludwig Kaiser will help Finn Balor, and Dominic will say, see, look, wouldn't it be great if we had a new member? And Finn's, no new members, and all that sort of stuff. So it's all of that's overlapping quite nicely, but 6-way for the IC or something.
Yeah, if you want.
Nothing satisfying.
This is what we saw Macaulay Culkin in the crowd.
TBS. Wednesday's TBS, 8/7 Central.
All right, okay.
It's good stuff. It's getting good again.
I was trying to work out what that stood for. I was thinking like, is this like a new PDS or something?
Or a Max. Get Max as well.
Yeah.
If you want. It's getting good.
Apart from the main event. Cody Rhodes enters. He's still got...
very good either.
Disagree.
Disagree.
Cody Rhodes has still got that black eye.
Firmly disagree.
A shiner from Travis Scott. And he comes out and, as you know from the SmackDown review yesterday, he says his catchphrase. He asks New York City, what do you guys want to talk about?
Oh, you're not going to believe what's happened, Will.
Oh, no, what?
The microphones and the camera didn't catch it.
Sorry.
Let's do it again.
Sorry, yeah. Cody Rhodes comes out. Black eye, yeah. NYC, what do you guys want to talk about?
There you go. It's good.
I listened to the SmackDown review yesterday, by the way. Excellent.
What was your favourite part?
Being reminded that I enjoy posh food, like After 8. I enjoyed all of it. I genuinely
Confectionary
did.
corner?
Yeah, of course I did. All right. I thought you did a stellar job. The thing is, what I like, Sidge, is that every now and then...
I was doing a Carter pace ahead of the Revolution.
Every now and then, the tone of the SmackDown, or let's say Dynamite, podcasts can change slightly. And I welcome a change once in a while. I don't get all sort of difficult about one line or kind of behave like a complete arsehole. I just enjoy the change in tone for a special occasion, then move on about my business. And I certainly did yesterday. Loved your confectionery hand.
Yeah.
Adele has a ripple.
Thank you to Brian for making it.
Adele has a Galaxy ripple on hers as well. I was telling her that you picked the flake and the ripple. And it just
Rippled?
You know when you've been married?
For her pleasure.
That's good stuff. And you know when you've just like been married a long time and you have those moments where it's still like, that's cool. We're on the same page. And she went straight away, a flake and a ripple. And I went, I know. I thought the same. But the man likes it's me and Sidge in a nutshell. Is that like he picks a flake and I pick a twirl? Why? Because I like things to be a little bit cleaner and easier, and I want two of them.
Yeah.
Like you only need the one, and you like a bit more of a sort of a real feeling texture.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. But he also likes the finer things, so he's gone with the Galaxy Ripple rather than the twirl because he wants the poshest kind of flake. Yeah. She also had the chocolate orange as well.
Chocolate orange is good.
And me and you both got Maltesers for the palm.
Yeah.
It was a good listen. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay.
It reminded me of it there because I very much enjoyed Wilbourn's. Like he was able to capture how full on Cody was on SmackDown, and I like that.
Well, when he on the SmackDown, in case you missed it, sorry, just recap for people. Check out the SmackDown review, obviously. But if in case you missed it, he was obviously still shell shocked, as Sidge said, about what happened with John Cena. So when he came out on SmackDown, he said, "What do you guys want to talk about?" But he's here because this is the cathedral.
Hey, guys.
The home base for WWE.
Should he do the catchphrase? Really?
Well, we'll want to do his recap.
Okay.
This is the center of the wrestling universe, the Garden. He talks about John Cena, who he'll face at WrestleMania 41, not being here tonight. Boo. But he has told his inner circle that he will be in Brussels, Belgium next week. Any mentions of Cena and Travis Scott and The Rock got booed, obviously. But yeah, Cody doesn't know if he likes the fact that Cena's going to be in Brussels next week because this was the same Cena who won his US title, first US title in MSG, returned obviously at the Royal Rumble in MSG, and then suddenly it's apparently an easy decision for him to not appear here. But he doesn't begrudge Cena having a part-time schedule. And there's Cena sucks, let's go Cena chants, which takes us back in time briefly. But he does begrudge Cena for something. Talks about his social media post stating that you must have the discipline to do what needs to be done even if you don't feel like it. And he compares Cena to an overzealous teacher or coach who keeps giving advice, but it's time for him to sit down, you goddamn moron. He says, look, nobody defined best for business quite like John Cena, but the business has changed. The key number to remember is 17. It is going to be Rhodes' heartbreaking privilege to beat his hero in his last chance, while Cena finds out what the fans already know. I'm the captain now.
I love that we've been made to wait for John Cena. Genuinely. I'd wait longer than next Monday. I'm excited for next Monday, but I would wait longer still. We used the Hogan comparisons, and he wasn't on the Nitro the very next night, and it was the idea of like shell shock, absolute shell shock. And when the NWO did show up, it was still bizarre. Me and Sidge have shared memories of seeing a magazine cover with him in like the black spandex.
Yeah.
The dyed beige. What the hell's happening over there?
Yeah.
Like the dark side of the moon on WCW, because look at Hulk Hogan. So the fact that there's been a wait and the fact that this is going to be enormous, and again, it's like, what are they going to make of these towns on this tour? Potentially sort of owning that town and owning that city for the next 10 years because of the nights people are going to have in these buildings. It's going to be brilliant. What is it about Cody's half of this that is not really clicking?
I don't know.
What is it? Like, and if SmackDown wasn't ready for me, truthfully, and he didn't quite get it right here either, but Madison Square Garden told him he didn't quite get it right because you had Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks chants. Now, is that a reality of what we're going to get because it's become like a performative part of the John Cena experience where, you know, when he's around, you do that because that was what you always did. Surely now he's a heel. It's just similar to just before he turned out, it was pretty much that was gone. It was all babyface. Now he's a heel. Should that not be something you have to worry about? Because Cody Rhodes spotted it and then tried to play with it and engage with it, and then the fans stopped doing it, and he just had to get back to it, and it all went a little bit awkward. Something so far is not clicking on the Cody Rhodes half of this, and I wonder if he just needs seeing it in person to make a bit more sense of it.
Yeah, I was struggling to articulate on the SmackDown review why I had an issue, because ordinarily Cena's Cody is a great promo. His work opposite Kevin Owens I thought was sensational last year, like genuinely excellent stuff. I don't know. It's pretty weighty. It's a seismic thing.
Yeah.
Is he taking the correct tone and emotional approach. What I mean by which is like, what do you guys want to talk about? It's like, it seems a bit like pitiable. Do you do your catchphrase? Are his choices wrong?
He goes up the gear as well.
He goes
At
up
the
the gear
end,
as well.
he, like, kinda like
He can always do
has to-
that.
yeah.
Yeah, he can always like go up. But should he not be... At the end of the day, he shadowed John Cena. He sought his advice, as he said, like day after day after day, wanted to be John Cena. It's real and doesn't feel real at the same time.
Yeah.
It feels like they've barely interacted. Has he done a good enough job of bringing their backstory to life? He made mention on SmackDown too. Every year, 2 years. Maybe he should have specified 1 day, 1 town, 1 trip and gone into details on that day, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm putting questions out there and speaking rhetorically, I know.
You always
Maybe
mention like him and Punk sat in that building that day having that conversation about whatever, and that added that you could.
yeah,
picture
maybe
them
there
both
needs to
in
be more
OVW or whatever like that.
specificity.
Yeah,
This history with John Cena, which I don't not believe, but I'm not feeling at the same time. I don't know if he's very low. It was weird against The Rock as well, actually. Like, it was really weird against The Rock, and that low voice. I don't know. It's just not having the best couple of weeks.
it's so odd as well because this is not. I'm not saying at all. I don't want my name attached to the idea that like, this isn't massive.
Maybe
it's massive.
One more thing. Maybe this has come together extremely quickly. And he doesn't know what to do.
No, that's
Yeah.
not the case. Definitely not.
How do you know?
Well, I can't reveal my sources, but, you know, it's been bad blood onwards, mate. So
Is the YTJ?
yes.
Is his source Terry B?
Yeah, there's something else. The specific marketing of next week's Raw about the 2 men under the same roof.
Yeah.
Is again, like, I don't ever want to sound like I'm defending him in this political battle because I just like that they're both constantly at odds, Triple H and The Rock. But what I am defending is a version of WWE I prefer, which is the one that Triple H has more of a grasp on than The Rock. That's what I like more. And that, a bit like Triple H's press release, hey, what's the old disruptor going to do when he gets to SmackDown? Seriously, what's he going to do? I don't know. Like the advertisement of that feels tied to it to me because it's almost as if they can't promote it specifically because what they know is that John Cena is booked for Brussels and Cody Rhodes is going to be there. But this is a Rock storyline now as much as it is a Cody and a Cena one. And can Triple H outright say face-to-face because he hasn't had final sign-off from the final boss?
Yeah.
You know, like, or does he promote something only for it to get torn up next Monday afternoon? Like, it's that specific promotion made me think, well, yes, they could be building something there, and it could be this idea that Cena's in a locked dressing room and he's never been more the star, and Cody is the everyman version of John Cena now from 20 years ago, and he wants to get near him and he wants to get him in the ring straight away, and Cena's like, my time, right? Like, out the building. So they do something like that, where it's that sort of, he gets every sort of privilege afforded to him so that Cody's nowhere near him. And maybe that's what they're building, under one roof.
Yeah.
But a little bit of me thinks they can't build specifically because somebody's not rubber stamped anything yet, and they're waiting for that. Like,
There was the speculation that it was meant to happen at Mania.
yeah.
And the feud was going to look completely different, obviously, because it was going to be an all babyface affair.
I hate seeing, like, you know, we talk about him sometimes and the kind of the divisive response he gets from, I personally believe different generations of fans have takes on Dave Meltzer. I think it is very much about your age and how you were introduced to Dave or what it is he contributes. Or maybe the people that introduced you to Dave and how he was framed when you first became aware of Dave Meltzer. But it's been really pissing me off that Dave Meltzer, I believe, reports bits of information that are given to him in good faith and in the best faith he's able to. And then Brian Geewords gets to do some dunk or some victory lap. Like, wrong again, asshole. And it's like, well, is he? Like,
Or you just
what exactly are you trying to protect? Because we know what your relationship and where your priorities lie.
Yeah.
So what version of the truth are you trying to protect? What version of this year's
He
WrestleMania documentary are you trying to make sound logical? Because we'll get another one of them and all.
He is
Like,
stunningly unlikable, him. Your words. Oh, God
just
damn.
because you know his motivations are so obvious.
Yeah.
Like protect the Dwayne-iverse.
Yeah.
What's the message? Well, I don't know. It was as different to yesterday. So like that's one of his jobs.
Like, you know, he's got a good turn of phrase, obviously. I mean, he come up with half of the Rock stuff and some of the good stuff. So he knows what he's doing. But that quote last year, even, Like, Cody, it looked like we took him out back and shot his dog in the face. It's like, yeah, he's being a bitch about it. Of course he was.
Yeah.
Of course he was. Are you stupid? Like, why does everything have to stand still? I know you love him. I think he's incredibly entertaining as well, but nothing should have to stand still for The Rock, realistically. And I look like what a little bitch he was. Of course he was. Words as well. That was I always hate about him. Strong word. Is when like he did this on the Mr. McMahon documentary. I think he's done it in like various network retrospectives. Going, well, we were sponsor friendly content. The John Cena, the face of it. Some of the older fans didn't like it very much, but we had new things. Blah, 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 blah. It was incredible in 1989, bro. The exact same aims and like markets to go for. You just at your job. You at your job, and you're saying that the older fans were complaining. What do you expect? We're going for a different thing now. So I expect something good. You ever seen Bluey? Good words. You ever seen Bluey? Sorry. LaGreca.
The LaGreca Bluey rant.
We can't help it if they didn't realise that what Triple H was actually throwing to camera was not Katie Vick's brains. It was spaghetti bolognese. Said he screwed her brains out, but they weren't her brains.
But yeah, WWE
It wasn't even a real funeral home.
WWE going big on promoting their European tour, which is cute. A nice little European tour. Not quite a world tour, though, is it, Hamflett?
It certainly is not, Wilbourn. It certainly is not, which is what we're on, and it does count because they're multiple countries, if anything. So we're going to be in Manchester, Glasgow, and Belfast. I've got the order of those dates wrong, but I haven't seen the graphic this morning. But yes, if WWE is in town, we are too. We're going to be doing our live stage show. If you've been to one before, you know the crack. They're an awesome time. Tickets still available at whatculture.com/tickets, and then we're going to be headlining the world tour. Falling off today at the HyperX Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, with the biggest and best SmackDown watch along. If those Fed tickets are a bit too expensive, ours are more reasonable. Come along to us at the HyperX Arena. It's a stunning venue, too ambitious for its own good, but we cannot wait to see you there. There's going to be a live stage show. There's going to be a full SmackDown watch party. Then there's going to be Simon Miller doing ups and downs from that SmackDown for YouTube that you can be on as well as a WrestleMania preview podcast, and then basically drinking and partying till late, because what happens at WhatCulture Live stays at WhatCulture Live. Food and drink all available at the HyperX Arena as well, inside the Luxor Hotel and Casino. It's going to be absolutely mint. Tickets at whatculture.com/tickets.
Unprecedented insight into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Oh, yeah. The best you will ever get.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And alongside that as well, don't forget Sweet Chin Disco, the wrestling club night that is joining us for our tour and hitting even more cities. Like you say, we're doing Manchester, Belfast, but then Sweet Chin Disco is going to be heading to Nottingham. Then we're going to be in Glasgow, London, and Birmingham, coinciding with all the WWE live show dates. It's going to be me and Mark Henry partying in all those cities. And Joe Hendry's going to be joining us for a select few dates as well. If you want to get tickets to that, dice.fm, just search for Sweet Chin Disco.
King of Birmingham returns home.
Coming home, baby. Very excited for that.
So on selected dates, you're going to see Mark Henry, Joe Hendry, and the Ginger Eye Beast. All in the same show. Trying to get that off the ground.
Raquel Rodriguez was in action next against Bayley to determine the new number one contender for the IC title. Raquel dominated early, ragdolling Bayley. She caught the fall-away slam as well. But Bayley catches Raquel as she's climbing the ropes, hits a Bronco Buster in the corner, elbows her on the
Raquel Rodriguez. That's what she could be when she's like a heavy metal gimmick, you know? Just radical. And Raquel Rodriguez.
After the break, Bayley fights back, hits a flying elbow drop for 2, goes for the rose plant, but Raquel blocks that, ends up outside the ring. Bayley tried to baseball slide into her, but got nailed by a forearm by Raquel, who tries to send her into the post, but Bayley slips out and sends Raquel into it. Dom hops up on the apron and distracts the referee. Morgan tries to interfere, but Bayley knocks her off the apron. She also knocked Dom off the apron, went for a dive, but Raquel caught her and slammed her onto the announce table. Looked like she was going to get counted out, but she slid in just to break the count at the last second, but Rodriguez nailed her with a big boot and the Tejana Bomb. 1, 2, 3. She is the next challenger for Lyra Valkyria.
It's fine.
That is the mid-match alarm.
Yeah.
If that's
if that's coming through.
If that's coming through, that is our mid-match alarm.
This is fine. Raquel Rodriguez, inconsistent. So I see why they threw out there with Bayley, who's not the most exciting wrestler anymore, but like was destined to give Raquel Rodriguez this night.
Not necessarily. She's botchly sometimes.
You did come up with Botchley, yeah. That's true, actually, yeah. So maybe I need to give them both a bit more credit here for this being fine.
It's whatever, innit?
I'm sorry. I feel bad saying it to you, and you get a bit of a kick when I say it, but it is whatever. This is proper whatever stuff. It's the friggin' WrestleMania season.
Whatever.
It's Intercontinental title that was supposed to care about, you know? Like, I'll give Chelsea Green this. No matter what she's working with or without that title or anything like that, she will make a convincing argument that she should be included on any WrestleMania card.
Yeah, the street fight was really good on SmackDown.
Yeah. And the character work she puts into it and the stuff they're like the capital M moments or the little memories she wants to leave you with, she never ever wants to waste a second of it. This, you know, like Lara Valkyria versus Raquel Rodriguez for a Raw TV match to maybe hide in plain sight a multi-woman Intercontinental title match or something.
Europe's own?
Yeah,
maybe. Is that anything?
You watch this, what could you possibly say about it?
Welcome to my world.
Kathy Kelly interviews Chad Gable, but you two look bloody stupid because he says, it wasn't me that attacked the LWO. Called security pathetic for not getting to the fan before he got involved. And Kathy Kelly's like, come on, Chad, we all know it was you. And then the real masked man is taken away, black hoodie, USA-themed mask. Kathy Kelly's very confused, and Gable gives her a told you so look.
If you wore an Andrew Schultz mask, would it be Chud Gable?
Yeah.
We had a Bron Breakker video promo on Balor. Randy Savage, Ted DiBiase from the 80s in MSG. And then just more celebrities I didn't really recognise. Like one from, is it The Diplomat on Netflix? No. It's very good, The Diplomat, genuinely. But a lot of them I was just like, I got nothing. Then we got Io Sky coming out, quite rightly getting flowers for winning the title and going to WrestleMania as champion. Cole's in there interviewing her. Fans chanting that she deserves it, and she says it's a dream to be here in Madison Square Garden as a champion. She proved the impossible is possible. She's over the moon to be champion and heading to WrestleMania. But Cole brings out Bianca Belair, who congratulates Sky and says they're excited to head to WrestleMania together. Cole asks Bianca if Rhea Ripley would still be champion if Belair wasn't there at ringside last week. And Belair quite rightly says, I've had enough of drama lately. I was only out there to watch the match. Ripley thought I'd put my hands on her and get away with it. You don't know me at all. And then we hear, this is my brutality. Out comes Rhea Ripley to a big reaction. It's good stuff. Rhea wants to know why Bianca was out there anyway. Did she want to face Io instead of facing me? She says Bianca should have left her to handle her business with Sky whilst Bianca handled her business with Naomi and Jade Cargill. Belair fires back, though, says that the reality is that you can't beat Io Sky and you're just blaming me. And they sort of get into each other's faces. They're arguing. Io Sky tries to interject and she just gets like pie-faced out of there, shoved away. Both of them do it. So she just gets really pissed off, separates them, slap for Rhea Ripley, slap for Bianca Belair. And she's livid. She's sort of pointing, seemingly suggesting a triple threat for WrestleMania.
This I liked. This I was into. Felt WrestleMania-sized because of the wrestlers involved in it. Because of the stakes, it's the world title. It's a relatively well-protected title because of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley's last runs, and Io's credible. So, you know, she's like a proper world champion. Bianca getting back in the mix. I say this all the time now. It is criminal, really, how for 11 months they're like, yeah, she's just kicking around, and then they can just like break glass and say, Bianca Belair, instant like WrestleMania main event worthy wrestler because she's awesome. And I really, really like what they're doing with all three of these, genuinely. Io Sky, I thought this played nicely on the reality of the conversations that are probably happening in the background of not many people expected her to win. Certainly none of us previewed on this idea that like, well, just Bianca's a bigger match. Let's be real here. And this was a great way of illustrating that and then immediately allowing her to the agency to level up to the two of them because the pie face was like, in both cases, the pie faces were so forceful that had she not acted, she'd have been finished out there.
Yeah.
And to take them both out and be like, well, no, think you're doing? Like, I'm the one holding the belt here. I'm the one with all the cards. It's you two that might need to figure something out. I'm the only one guaranteed here going to WrestleMania if you two are going to have a fight over this. We know it's going to a triple threat. But again, like I said this a few times as well, of all the compromise feeling multi-person matches, this is the one that actually feels like it deserves its place. Yeah. They are the three best wrestlers. They're the three most over wrestlers. They're the three with the potential to have the best match of this division. Another one I think that could, depending on how it's booked, could make its argument for a night one main event alongside Jey and Gunther, even though neither of them are going to get the spot. The Bianca Belair thing, I think, is being really, really, for WWE, very delicately and interestingly underplayed. There is a very, very, very slow burn heel turn happening with Bianca Belair as a result of the dual drama taking place in her life. The want to just simply be in the spot of the number one contender for WrestleMania, but being waylaid by this situation with Jade and Bianca, and kind of being, I thought they played that, the end of that segment with the, I listened to the review, I kind of got where both of you were coming from. I had mixed feelings about the interplay between Bianca and Naomi, but I absolutely loved the kind of standing aside. She came dressed for a funeral and she watched one play out. She stood aside for Jade to kick her ass and just like, I've got to let this happen. Yeah. She's in a pretty dark place, and that's going to allow her to do some pretty potentially awful things. And we saw a little bit of that with the Raw stuff last week and her mixing in with Rhea. They are not spoon feeding you this at all, but this is a different Bianca Belair. She's been impacted by the things happening in her life, and that could be a very credible reason why either A, it costs her at WrestleMania, or B, she takes a shortcut to get the belt back to feel whole again. I like this a lot.
That's really good analysis, that was really, really good analysis of the potential direction for Bianca Belair. I thought the segment was really strong. We could, like, three wrestlers who know they're good, who know they're a cut above, performing something like, finally we got this bloody spot. But everything just had a bit of intent behind it, a bit of like, they know what they're doing. It just didn't feel phony at all, which is always a risk when you're doing a contrived triple threat. Like Triple H loves them, doesn't he? Bloody loves a triple threat
more
match.
For tournaments and the payoffs. He's mixed up there.
This is good stuff, this is good stuff. It felt like
it's WrestleMania season.
Yeah, this felt like the energy of the stars are colliding on the season finale. It's a bit like, WWE's a bit like Shakespeare, the days of our lives, and we have
in the NFL,
and we have our season finale. It's called WrestleMania. That's what it's actually felt like. It
The sort of echoes. I know it's not ideal. Obviously, there's echoes of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Benoit in terms of like Bianca and Rhea are like. It's like, don't forget about her. Yeah. She's class.
Is conspicuous by her absence still? Is Becky Lynch such a big deal that knows her value that she is?
I think she's opted out.
Actively going to sit out at WrestleMania. She's judged the lay of land and thought, this is not going to be my year, so why would I bother?
Yeah.
I'll be a bigger
What would the
deal.
match be like?
Yeah, I'll be a bigger deal.
I love Lyra Valkyria, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Now you say it, that, but the idea, you come back and you dethrone your protege, it's a bit heelish, isn't it? We've done this with Becky Lynch now, so yeah.
Charlotte's there fighting for
doing the same thing as you potentially. Yeah, younger version
world
of me.
title.
I'll kick her ass.
Yeah. I think I don't know. Bayley, presumably Bayley, Roxanne Perez, but it's gone a bit quiet all that now, hasn't it? And her losing here doesn't look great.
Bayley's doing jobs to Raquel Rodriguez. She's. She's finished, isn't she?
Bayley.
She's not on the team sheet for me. She's not one of the old board.
The best chance she's got, they will be looking for two over
Boring.
baby faces to fight Liv and Raquel for the tag belts. I think that's like, and Liv Morgan
SmackDown
absolutely deserves a WrestleMania spot, but yeah, they could find two baby
Yeah,
faces.
Morgan deserves it.
So they'll find two, but I don't know if Bayley's in that.
Alexa and Nikki, I saw suggested.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, because they're still being tied together. Alexa's doing all the Bray Wyatt tease stuff, so yeah, could see that.
Right, just before we get to the main event, we saw Stephanie Vaquer and Julia at ringside. They're obviously champion versus champion at Roadblock tonight. Get out the bloody road. And then we got to the steel cage match. CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. This is my house, motherfucker. I love him so much.
That shot above the ramp. Well, it's not a ramp anymore, is it? It's nothing. But the screen and the crowd. And then Punk, when he's doing that entrance and he sort of turns around and it capturing him, like looking back. And obviously they've planned it earlier in the day because he's like looking for that camera. He's standing there long enough. looks absolutely incredible. The full Madison Square Garden and like CM Punk and there's a big friggin' stage. That's pro wrestling, and that's what I like. It's like instant wrestling screensaver for me. And it's one of the highlights of the show for me was a still image of an entrance.
Yeah.
Says a lot, doesn't it?
The still imagery of the match as well was
It's good. It's good stuff.
Rollins chucked his jacket at Punk when he got in, and they fight, just swinging at each other back and forth. Rollins catches Punk in the corner as Punk goes for a knee and powerbombs him into the cage wall to take us to a break. When we come back, Rollins opens the door and tells Punk to leave. But Punk, well, some of us saw it, some of us didn't. Punk flips off Rollins. They keep censoring stuff. They censored more on earlier. We talked about it in the news. There's black screens all over the place, but then occasionally a middle finger would get through. Rollins went for another powerbomb, but Punk raned him into the cage instead and hit Rollins with a GTS. But Punk's still recovering, can't capitalize. So instead, he drives Rollins' face into the cage and hits a running knee to the back of his head.
Hang on, sorry, one thing. I'm sorry to interject because I will forget about this. So I'm going to mention it now. Netflix made it sort of like name really. I got really like blew up. True crime. That's like true crime got massive, massive. And so we have to watch Netflix to watch this and stuff. That's certainly my interpretation of it. Like, why can't you just show someone flipping someone off?
Well, it was inconsistent as well. Like there was bits where he did a double bird when he was on the top rope, and you just saw that.
Yeah, so odd.
This time, Punk invites Rollins to leave, but Rollins flips him off.
Your crimes against wrestling every week on this show as well. You don't black out the whole thing.
Punk goes to the top, hits an elbow drop, a second one.
Like the history of like crime on HBO, The Wire, The Sopranos, The Death Row.
Punk goes to the top, hits an elbow drop, goes up top again, double bird,
American
second elbow drop.
: Robert Gibson. That's the Death Riders one. Sorry, go on.
Punk hits the third flying elbow drop and goes for the first cover of the match. Gets a 2 count. Then he climbs to the top of the cage, teases an elbow off there, but Rollins catches him up there. There's a great drone shot going around from them fighting on the top of the cage. In the end, Rollins gets knocked back inside and superplexes CM Punk from the top to get a near fall. Goes for a pedigree. Punk counters into a GTS for a 2 count. Goes for another one, but Rollins counters into an STF. Punk eventually reverses that into an Anaconda Vice, but Rollins rakes his eyes to get out of it and hits a curb stomp for a 2 count. He sets up for a super stomp, but Punk yanks him off the ropes and hits a third GTS for a great 2 count, and a curb stomp from CM Punk for another 2 count. Punk doesn't know what to do. There's an open door there, but Rollins yells at him, "If you want my house, take it from me. Earn it, you asshole." So Punk flies at him with a running knee, sets up for the GTS.
Dialogue in pro wrestling recently.
But Rollins gets out of the GTS and hits a GTS of his own. Hits a curb stomp for another great 2 count. The crowd are loving it. Hits a super stomp off the middle rope. And he just slumps in the corner looking at his work. Doesn't go for a cover, doesn't try to leave. But the door again is still open from earlier on. And suddenly you hear this noise from the crowd. And Roman Reigns snatches Rollins round the neck and yanks him out of the ring. Obviously, Rollins out of the cage, therefore wins the match. But it's all for naught, basically, because Rollins can't believe what he's seeing. Roman Reigns is back. He hits Rollins with a Superman punch, a spear, his own curb stomp. He sets Rollins' head on the steel steps. He's going to stomp his head into that, but this time Postman Pierce and all the officials run down to stop him. And suddenly, Reigns' attention turns to the ring where CM Punk is recovering, being helped to his feet and comforted by Paul Heyman. And Reigns sort of smirks and snarls and enters the ring, throws Punk into the cage walls, spears him. Heyman sort of backs off and Roman Reigns stands tall as the crowd chant OTC and the show goes off the air.
Can I go first? Sorry.
Yeah.
Because it's probably better for bad news, good news. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because you liked it.
Elements of it. Didn't love it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you go first then, Paul.
All right, mate. Do match
That's how we
first.
do things, you know? Dr. Fed goes first on.
It's true, yeah. Reverend Dub.
And Reverend Dub goes first on AEW.
The match. It didn't lose the build. I have to say this. It did not lose the build in one bit by the end, but it lost me. And the repeat finisher spam stuff had people going nuts in there. So maybe this is just like an isolated experience for me. The more that happened, the more I came to the realization I didn't care who won or lost because I felt like it didn't really have ramifications. I had a sense that Seth might win somehow, maybe with a pinfall because it like levels the series, and you sense that it was going to be the triple threat, or the two of them are going to WrestleMania together. But the more the finishes happened, the less I cared about the outcomes. That wasn't ideal for me as a viewing experience, but in the building, massively over. So I can't fault it too much. I really, really, really enjoyed the rest of the match. Really enjoyed it. Really well agented for a very, very WWE cage match. They didn't shy away from the fact that you have these escape rules and you've got them whether you want them or not. But both of the wrestlers owned that.
Yeah.
A little bit dramatic at points, but they owned it well to kind of illustrate, no, this is going to be settled. This is going to be settled in the ring unless a situation like a Roman Reigns comes along and makes it otherwise. This is going to be, it's going to happen here. The production around the drone shot, but the production in general around the stuff where they went up high, it actually illustrated high risk. Them two fighting up there, as the drone captured it, reminded me of, I think it was the Hell in a Cell where, remember it was like Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens were fighting on top. I can't remember if the roof was dodgy or something, but it was just like, it was really uneasy viewing because Shane's coming off that thing. And, oh, God. I remember the tension around that specific one. And for me, they captured that brawling on the top. Maybe it's because, like, they're both a little bit older, or you're not going to get...
Punk would have exploded.
Yeah. Like, you're not going to get, like,
he would have
this kind of bounce, or, like, and, of course I'm going to use a comparison, but, like, of an Osprey Fletcher coming off there with a Spanish fly. That's not happening with them two.
No.
Like, that's the stretchers coming out, and, so there was a real sense of jeopardy up there, which I loved. It's funny you mention about that because a year ago, obviously after the Rumble, like with the people with the elite banners or the carry on my wayward shows, or whatever, were like fragile Phil. It's like the guy was bumping around that cage. It was like electrifying to watch, like from the off, getting like the buckle bomb in there, like same at the Chamber, same at the Rumble. I'm loving watching CM Punk bump. He did the best 3 elbow drops of his whole career. Yeah. Like all of them were good. I didn't see that coming. Doing going up there? You're doing one from the top just because you finally nailed how to do it like 10, 12 years
I
ago.
audibly said, WrestleMania's in like 6 weeks, mate. Don't do this.
Yeah. Like, I thought they played with the drama of all of those things really, really well. I just wasn't into the finisher stuff because I didn't care who won or lost. The Roman Reigns stuff, well executed, well performed. Roman seemed to be... He's still trying too much for me, but he was at least trying to claw back his aura in all of this and claw back his
Rare
aura.
that we get a Roman Reigns surprise, i.e. not with like the music and stuff, he just is there.
And it was welcome. And I never want to just like sort of outright be like, that's a Punker call. But sometimes you do think there are certain voices in the room that just simply know how things will play out better. And elements of that felt like tied to Punk. I didn't love Roman and Punk's involvement because what's going on there? You've actually dropped something. Roman going, he sees Paul Heyman helping him up. So what? Like, it's
his wise man.
My wise man. That's rubbish. They made friends at Survivor Series. They shared a mutual respect because Punk helped. It was enough that they'd helped each other in War Games. Punk should have been raging with Roman because it just cost him the match. Roman can get back in the ring and do like, and then Punk Punk swings a kick or something. Because Roman's just costing the match, and then Roman's like, "Oh, we're doing that, are we?" Then he can spare him. He's fresh. Like, absolutely, you don't need much to trigger the violence between them. The bond was uneasy in War Games as it was. I just thought going back in there, drilling with a spear, was a bit like, well, yeah, we've got to do this because the 3-way's happening whether we like it or not. They tried to tell you here.
Are you missing the Royal Rumble stuff?
They tried to tell you here
I'm only playing devil's advocate.
This triple threat.
I think it's a slop.
They tried to tell you without really showing you that this triple threat match is the biggest thing at WrestleMania, and I didn't really feel it from this interaction. I certainly did from the Rumble, and I loved the finish of the Elimination Chamber, but this was the weakest of the 3 chapters for me so far.
I've got a few things to say about this, so it'll be a bit scattered. First of all, right, as much as I appreciate the idea, and I would wish there was more of this in pro wrestling, that unclean, that a bit of a kink of mine. Come here, I'll demonstrate. When they get the forearm and just shave it and scrape it against each other's faces, right? I love that, but not as much as Punk seems to be doing it. And that highlighted to me or reminded me he is doing this thing, and I guess it works narratively, where every single person he faces hates him, and it's a grudge feud, And then, because I was thinking a lot about CM Punk versus MJF during this, okay, wherein I remember the whole deal was, and obviously people were going to just jump on it, and I knew he's not just coming in to do random exhibition matches on Rampage. It's all building something. Like, there's obviously the dual purpose of he's getting his cardio up, but the whole thing was, when CM Punk going to get a story in AEW? He's fighting a babyface first. Then what's this Matt Sydal on Rampage? Great match. You know, QT Marshall. What the hell did they do that for? But the whole idea was he is winning matches because he wants to win the title. Oh! In comes, enter stage left, MJF. And that's a sidetrack. By the time that CM Punk and MJF had really started to loathe each other and realize that they were sort of like each other's AEW career rivals, arch nemesis, it really felt like something because it built it. The idea of happy to be there, Punk, just disintegrating. That level of heft and emotion and how credible all that felt, it's just not here with the CM Punk in WWE. So when he did that face scrape, I was like, oh, I like a bit of that. He's like, and I'm thinking, he kind of does it in every single match. I've noticed that there's a difference there, and I'm just trying to work out the difference. And part of the great thing about the CM Punk MJF feud was just every little detail of like the Piper Valentine stuff. It just felt like, oh, I like Roddy Piper more than you. And then to go to Will You Be My Valentine, and just that beautiful level of detail. And it just felt like these two had locked in to this mutual passion project, and they just loved doing it, evidently. I don't get any sense of that love and passion and craft behind this storyline with the three of these. I just don't. Like CM Punk.
I get the most from Seth Rollins.
I know.
Because he needs it the most.
CM Punk. Like Seth Rollins, I get it. He needs it the most. This is his lane. Like, yes, he'd want to wrestle. He'd want to headline WrestleMania Sunday. Who wouldn't? But I think it's his job in his head to make the best damn WrestleMania Saturday there ever was, you know? God bless him for doing that. CM Punk, I just suspect he wanted a shot of Seth Rollins before he could get to Roman or before he could get to something else. He just don't get the feeling that this is what he wants to do. Roman is, I'll turn up an MSG, you know, to set up the match for Mania, and then you maybe see it's like he's beat Solo Sikoa, and then he's f***ed off. Like, you cannot tell me this guy hasn't thought to himself, had a good 4 years, I'll come in when I need to do. Cody's won. He's took the Rock offers. I just get the sense that, and maybe it's the fact because he's never there. Like Roman Reigns isn't giving it the old college try. He can do as many oorahs as he wants, but that's his job. That's his job. It's not like a passionate, I have been wronged at the Royal Rumble and I'm coming back. It's like, oh, it's time to do oorah. It's like, it still feels phoned into me.
I agree.
It still feels
WWE was his when he was on top. I didn't even like half the run, but he was always his. 2020 to him losing the belt to Cody, WWE was his domain.
Doesn't feel like it's his anymore, and he knows it, and it just doesn't feel like a part. It's 2 out of the 3. Who wants it? Not these two, and I can just feel it. I can just feel it. Even in MSG on the match, it's funny, right? There is a fake match, okay, that doesn't happen. Often attributed falsely, of course, because this match is fake, to the Young Bucks, which is ironic considering it's CM Punk in this match. And in this fake match that has never happened, right, because it just doesn't. It's a spot fest where the spam finisher kickouts, and that's all you ever see. They lost the thread of this so badly, I was almost speechless. CM Punk, of all people, who can make the slight shake of an elbow that's just been damaged, and how he can't do a hold, and that chain of sequences. It was almost sad watching him do. This was slop towards the end. Like, it really was. Like, it's one thing because here's the comparison, Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher to do something like this, because that's kind of the wrestlers they are. And even I thought that, we described it on the review yesterday, which you can check out wherever you get your podcasts from. I said, is it imperfect or flawed? I was dancing around those terms because ultimately there were moments where I thought you're doing too much in here. But then what they did, no matter the volume of it, was so unbelievable that I was like, I'm on the ride personally, even though this goes against some of my sensibilities, really. This just didn't feel like CM Punk. This did not feel like a CM Punk match and what he values about his pro wrestling craft. I don't know whether it's because he's physically nowhere near the same as he was, and he was never an athlete, and he knows, I'm in WWE now, I can do the Heyman layout. If nothing else, I can do the Heyman layout and get a pop, pop, pop. They just lost the thread. If they're losing Hamflett and it's CM Punk in a steel cage match in the Garden, there's something to be said. And it's just so ironic that of all people, CM Punk made real this mythical match that knobheads on Reddit have made up to bury New Japan when it was big, or AEW when it was getting there, because they can't handle the idea that someone likes something more than their thing. And, you know, I try not to get annoyed by those types of people, but it was striking to me how this fabled fake match that they make up in their heads actually kind of happened on Raw, and CM Punk was in it. Just something to think about there.
I see a bit of, this is not from Sidge at all, I see occasional criticisms of CM Punk within WWE as this, I don't know, like it's a dirty word or something. I've said this before, once it was to be a bit of a troll on forums being like, well, the best CM Punk's actually WWE superstar CM Punk. I actually believe that, right? But you see it, and the AW comparison is useful because obviously there are highs so incredibly up there as some of the all-time stuff he's ever done. But I genuinely believe that CM Punk and WWE are best fit for each other. I do. For a number of
greatest hits versus studio album, I think.
Maybe, yeah.
Both have merits.
Aye, that's a really good way of putting it, yeah. And I think on his day and on WWE's day, I think the two are perfect for one another. And it's almost when it feels like there's push and pull that makes it more perfect, because you're like, him here? Yes, actually. You wouldn't think it, but yes. And I would say the form he's in at the moment, well, he's found form, I'll say that, because, yeah, we'll never agree on SummerSlam. But if you go from Hell in a Cell through to War Games, through to the Rumble.
Sami Zayn was a CM Punk match.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn was a CM Punk match that I thought was great.
Punk is form. And I'm not using this to like beat Seth Rollins over the head with it, because there's these two matches where it's like, and I'm probably higher on Seth Rollins than Sidge will ever be.
No, you are.
But yeah,
without question.
Both of them have suffered various different things that are kind of intrinsically WWE. And then that chips away at my CM Punk in WWE argument. And I would say, to Sidge's point about the finisher spam, yeah, even I'm going like...
This is what you're in for at Mania, by the way.
You're cleverer, Punk. You're cleverer than this. Like, you're not spamming things with Sami Zayn. You might go for stuff and you might try each other's bits. And
Who's just Seth Rollins is bad, guys?
I have seen evidence to the contrary, but so often he makes it a waste of your time trying to defend him. You know, like
this could be the Mania match, you know. But
well, I know.
But this plus Spears minus Cage.
There are so many.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like you say on the ride. Like I really like this. I was with the MSG crowd for this.
There are so many contrasting things about this Mania match. Seth Rollins, as we've talked about quite recently on this podcast, has got a better CV than he's credited for at WrestleMania, right? And a lot of those matches are rooted in finisher spam or bombs or whatever it is. Roman Reigns, extremely mixed. But the big stuff that Roman Reigns does has been very well received in the last couple of years. Punk.
WrestleMania 31 as well.
Yeah. Punk, a bit of an X factor in this era of WrestleMania, but was known for making real meaningless drivel on those mid-cards matter to the extent where he believed he should have been in the main event. Like Rhea and Orton. Yeah, there's elements of those matches, feuds to like, but the matches over-delivered on what
I
time
still
they were
remember
given, you know?
like Punk's worked dickhead limp
Yeah.
after he'd like done the limb work on Orton, then he was going in the corner.
Just brilliant.
Yeah.
Taker.
That Taker match is
touch
unbelievable.
that
Yeah.
on that card, you know. So like, it's so fascinating. It's like, which version of which guy are we getting on this night? Because yeah, it could just these all three and be like, right, let's. Like, it's ironic to say this when you've got Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins there, CM Punk coming in. Right, guys, come on, let's steal the show.
Yeah.
Like, it's you can't even visualize it, can you? But that's what he did at Hell in a Cell with Drew. Right, the Bloodline have got the main event. Nobody's going to talk about Bloodline after this. Are they Drew? Let's go to work, you know? It's fascinating. That's the document. I don't want Rock's line of bullshit on the documentary this year. I want these three. Because what does this look like?
Yeah.
You're just not going to know till they're in the ring, are you?
I think that's going to be Paul Heyman.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, again, sorry, I cut in there. You like this?
I really enjoyed it, yeah, and I really like the developments because I was, I've never seen CM Punk live, ever. So I'll take anything at this point, pretty much, for WrestleMania. But
He's good live.
the triple threat.
He's pretty special live.
He's so good live that I had PDS way earlier than most people. I first developed symptoms before Brawl Out.
That's true.
I think I was patient 0. I was patient 0 for PDS because I remember distinctly going, Punk's his attitude. There's something up with Punk. It's exhilarating, but I'm like, turn him heel, turn him heel, turn him heel. I hate him, but it's good. It's great TV, but I don't want to. He's not a babyface to me, this dude. So I have patient 0 for PDS. 2023, everyone's like, isn't Collision refreshing? Isn't Collision? So was it as good as the first Dynamite? No. No, it wasn't. No. Refreshing, back to basics, like quadruple heat FTR matches that go on for an hour and 30 minutes. Then maybe you've got like Miro and Andrade or whatever underneath.
Too long, those matches.
They were in there too long. Where am I going with this? My PDS is
You're gonna lead us to Punk and Joe at Wembley.
Oh, you saw Punk live, yeah.
So 2023, I was not in the best mood with Phil. Thought the matches were too long. I hated the idea of Collision. I knew it was untenable. Everyone knew it was untenable. I'm not saying I'm some sage, even though sometimes I am. Michael Sidgwick.
That's right.
It's all good stuff.
It's all good stuff.
Me and Hamflett.
Travis Scott just sort of went around.
Me and Hamflett, Wembley Stadium, the Punk. It's like, that Punk is how he's meant, isn't he? And he's just on this. He's so.
Sidgwick holding me up with some repeated blackouts. Again.
Punk live. It was this. I think that's why the 3.5 star thing,
Yeah.
like, it's like what a 5-star experience. Oh, it's not a 5-star match. A 5-star vibe.
Yeah.
He's so good live.
So yeah, I'll take anything at this point. But I really enjoyed this match. I know it's finisher spamming and what have you, but I was in the same mood as that MSG crowd. And the development for the triple threat, because I was always a bit like, I'd rather, until we saw the Cena heel turn, I was like, you got to do Punk Cody. And then if you're not doing that, you got to do Punk Roman or whatever. Like, yeah, Seth wasn't involved in the conversation. But we talked about this yesterday, Sidge, of like, we had the line between, obviously, Punk hates Seth, Seth hates Punk. Seth hates Roman, Roman really hates Seth. Roman and Punk, what's going on there? How are we doing? I know they've had this awkward relationship, friendship of sorts. I really liked, I know you didn't like it, I really liked the, like, I was like, Paul Heyman, there it is. Like, that's the age-old thing of, and I know it's like, where's my, but I really like that. The paranoia of Roman Reigns.
He knows
being like,
he's got the favour.
Yeah,
so
and
at the
I
very
think,
least he knows that's.
I think the favour is Roman's like, I'm killing Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and the match is made. And Punk's like, put me in that match. I want to kill both of those dudes.
Again, I'm still not massively drawn into any version of this yet, but I will.
This sold me on it being a main event, by the way.
I will let it play out.
Yeah,
because I am very keen to see a CM Punk promo on all of this, and
especially after last week.
Well, this is it, right? You don't know if he's going to go out there and like to use sort of the Cody thing about Cena being as good part-time as anybody else is full-time. That's Punk on promos. Like, he's good. He's better than most if he's half-arsing it. You can see sometimes that he's half-arsing it, but the quality's still like levels above so many others. But if he's last week's CM Punk selling you that, I might be all the way in a couple of weeks' time. Like, it will a lot be down to how he sells it. And then
the Shield reference will go hard.
Yeah.
Like, neither of you would be here if it wasn't for me. That sort of thing.
That's going to be, and it's like, that's the proper, like, thank God we're over the
especially
period.
not you, Roman.
Yeah.
Like, the idea
just
that
a Chris hero. No one will get it, but I'll like it.
Yeah.
Well, but maybe they will, because he's got more of a chance of getting a minor pop in the building out of that than he does about saying, like, punching Jungle Boys, huh? Like, absolute silence is like, people actually might understand this WWE history that you're leaning in on. Like, the Shield to them might be like when me and you were younger and seeing like archive footage of Bruno Sammartino. That's what today's young fans were like, the Shield, I remember the Shield in the dim and distant past. Like, they might sell me on this. I'm not going to just completely throw the baby out with the bathwater and say this can't be massive, because it's Punk and Roman, and Seth is also there. It is massive in theory. Massive. It is.
Just had a really good idea, sorry.
Go for it.
Punk says, I've got a direct line to someone who knows a lot about the Shield. And I was like, he's talking to Mox. And Kurt Angle comes out. Good stuff.
Or Triple H.
They've all been in the Shield.
Oh, I forgot about that.
They're all good Shield members.
He's got to drop the make you look strong line in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to happen.
Yeah. There's lots, I think, that they can still do with this. I think I expected a a stronger flashpoint in Madison Square Garden. The Rumble, I was praising the Rumble stuff at the time. I thought that was really impressive.
I reckon they missed the peak dramatically to begin with. Did the idea that we were just waiting for Roman to come out.
Possibly, yeah.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. I'm a fair guy. Fair guy. I think they missed the thread and CM Punk's doing slop.
Well, let us know your thoughts on it.
Sorry, one more thing. I think CM Punk is so good at his craft that he is basically doing a lot of slop. He's doing his I need a swimming pool money acting gig. But he's so good that sometimes it obscures that slop, and I don't even like him that much.
He's going to spend like a year like elevating these mid-card programs that otherwise would be nothing just to get to like next January. Like, see next year's Rumble Go Home program and be like, oh, f***ing hell. Because this thing is that he can... That's another reason why I don't want it to main event, by the way. Because
Makes
that
narrative
is
sense.
Exhilarating. That CM Punk selling the WrestleMania main event thing 2 years in a row now has been exhilarating. And if it's just this, it's like... But not like that. Get your singles match, get your title match, get your rock match, whatever it is that gets you in the main event. Let it feel the real deal rather than like, got it, nice one. It came round for you. You know? I'd almost like him to not have it in the hope that next year's build will yet again be as electrifying as it was before the Rumble.
Well, let us know your thoughts on everything we've discussed in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there, you can follow all four of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
Sidgwick.
Follow our brilliant producer Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas.
And you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. We'll be back later on today to preview NXT. But for now, this has been the Raw review. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.